Hello everyone, my name is Sumit and I welcome all of you to BISP Training's YouTube channel. This is my another video in Python Advanced Programming, and in this video I'm going to talk about the logging file management in Python. Basically, the logging module has been a part of Python standard library since version 2.3. Python provides a very powerful logging library in its standard library. A lot of programmers, they use print statement for debugging, just for showing messages, even including myself as well. Before I actually started working on logging, before logging, I used to use the print statements to print all the debugging messages. But when I got to know about logging functionality in Python, I started using same. So we can also use or you can also use logging to do this. So what exactly logging is? Basically, it is actually a cleaner to use logging, as you won't have to go through all your code to remove the print statement individually, or you don't have to use the print statements for debugging the messages. You must have seen uh, various various types that whenever we install any application or any tool, we used to get some messages that, okay, the log file has been generated, and you can follow the log files to find out the errors into the installation and all. So basically, the idea behind same here is they would be using the log files to generate the error messages. In same manner, we will also be going to use, instead of print statement, if any error occurs in a program, so instead of using print statement, we'll also use the log management or logging file. So let's have a look. How can we use the logging functionality, or how can we implement the log file management in Python? So guys, let's begin the log file management. So I'm using the Python shell for doing this. So I'm going to start a new script here. So the very first command will be, I write import logging. So this logging file will hold all the functions which would be requiring for log file management. Then I write logging dot basic config basic config, and I would be requiring a file name. So I'm going to create a new file name here, log underscore file name, and I'm going to provide the location where I would be going to store this file. So it would be on my D drive abc dot. Now it would be in log format or it would be in text format, that doesn't matter, but it should be a proper format. So that's the file name, log underscore file name. So logging dot basic config, and I provide file name is equal to log underscore file name, comma, level. Level means it indicates that what type of logging you are going to create, what type of messages are you going to create. So basically we have 5 types of logging messages. For example, we have logging dot debug. I'll just mention all the messages here. So first we have debug, which will provide detailed info. Then we have simple info. Info means it's for confirmation that things according to plan. Then we have debug dot warning. So warning is basically when some function fail to execute, then this warning message creates. Then we have error. Error is again, basically, warning is when something happens unexpected. When something happens unexpected, and something failed, then error occurs. And the last one we have is critical. Critical, it happens when any application failed, or any application explicitly closed or failed to load or to execute, then this critical condition occurs. So while creating this logging, we must be knowing that what kind of issue can be occur, and according to that we can specify the logging. We can set the level: logging.debug, logging.error, logging.warning. If you want to just provide any information, so I can say logging.info. Now in this case I'm using logging.debug. I'm just using logging.debug here. And then what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to open a file. I'm trying to load an XLS file which stores on my D drive datasets. And as you know that while opening a file or while loading a file into Python, there might be possible that it will create some issues. So I'm going to track that if any error occurs, if there is some issue with opening that file, instead of printing the messages, instead of throwing the error message, it will create a log file out of it. So because I'm going to load the data from Excel file, so I'm requiring one more library that is called XLRT. And then I create one try block, because this will take care of it. So book is equal to XLRD dot open underscore workbook. And which workbook? So I have got a workbook in my D drive dataset, and the book name is book2, name is book2.xlsx. And I simply pass a command print book dot number of sheets. And also I want to print book dot sheet underscore names. So it will print all the sheet names. Then first underscore sheet is equal to book dot sheet underscore by underscore index. Right. So I created a first sheet, and it will, so whatever the first whatever the index for sheet 1, indexes means if in that workbook whatever the sheet number 1, that will be treated as a first sheet. And then I want to find out the cell from it, so index of 0, and I write cell. I create a cell is equal to first underscore sheet dot cell 0 comma 0. I can print cell here, so it will print cell. And also if you want to print the cell value, cell dot value. If any error occur, it will execute the except block. So in except block I have exception and exception E. And then instead of, usually what happened, we use print statement, but this time instead of using print statement I'm using logging function. So for example, if I write print statement, print cannot open file. Let's try to execute this. When I save this file, run it and create this file, let's say read excel2.file, something like this. So yeah, I got the message, sheet 1 text emp id. That was the so the first cell contains the emp id. Let's suppose I try to open a file which does not exist, then it will throw an error message and it will print cannot open file. But what happening here is it's printing the message here. So instead of printing the message on the shell, I just wanted to create a log file out of it, so that we can trace all the messages, we can trace all the exceptions if occurs, or all the steps we can figure out from our log files. So how to mention the error message in the log file, or how to enter it into log file? So I write logging dot debug, and I simply write a message cannot open file, or error in opening file. I'll simply write error in opening file, and let's test it. So when I test it, when I execute it, you can see there is no error message. So the log file has been created on my D drive. So I'll open my D drive and just look at the ABC file ABC, and when I open it says error in opening file. So that's the log file generated out of it. If I simple customize this, customize in the sense instead of showing my own message, I just wanted to print the system message or the custom message or the system message. So I simple write here E, and whatever is the message that will store into E, and this E will store the message into our log file. So I'll execute it, I run it, and see there is no error message. So let's go and test our log file. So that's the log file, and you see I got a message here, no such file or directory, D drive dataset book3.xls. If there is no error, so let's suppose if there will be no error into it, so I'll simple test it, and I write instead of book 3 I open book 2, because I have got this book 2. When I try to open it, it will print the cell number. So that's how we can work on log files. We can use log files to store the messages. So this is warning, that was the warning, and if you look at the log file, it contains the debug. Now if I change the message, now instead of debug, if I write logging, first of all let me change the replace with book 3, and instead of logging dot debug, I write logging dot critical. So now you can see I have changed this to critical, logging dot critical, and this also I changed this, instead of debug I use logging dot critical. And now when I execute it, let's test it. So there is no error message, it means the log file has been generated. And when I look at ABC, I got a message critical, no such file or directory. The message is same, but the so we have a critical here, or we can use like error or warning or info and so on. So that's all in Python log management. I hope you like this video. If that's so, don't forget to press the like button. If you have any issues, you can write down to us on www.bsptrainings.com. You can share your comments in comment box. Keep watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.